Hello and welcome to Live Relationship Advice with Shane and Nazreen. This is our first episode, and for those of you that don't know me or recognize me from the Texarcist Live podcast, I'm the Texarcist, Shane Moore, and this is a new podcast that Nazreen and I have decided to start to give advice, give relationship advice, whether it be with your spouse, with your boyfriend, girlfriend, mother, father, siblings, co-workers, boss, whatever. If it's bothering you, it's worth talking about. And there are many people that are trapped or they feel trapped, and we just want you to realize that you're not trapped. It's just a matter of time to find a solution or a way out. Anyway, we will be talking about what's called the dark triad in psychology, that is referring to 3 negative personality traits, which is narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy, which share common destructive features. It's not pretty, but if you're wondering if someone in your life or someone you know or work with may be a narcissist, maybe a malignant narcissist, a psychopath, hang on. And when I come back, Nazreen will be with me, and we will discuss this and explain the red flags, the traits of the dark triad, and hopefully save you from pain and danger, and those around you as well. So I'm going to play a song, and I'll be back in 3 minutes. So hang tight. We'll be right back.
Spot in the right
And we're back. Hello, Nazreen.
Hi, Shane. How are you doing?
I'm fine. We are live. So,
Great. Okay.
and I have told everyone what we're going to be talking about, the dark triad of narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy. We have all heard, and pretty much many people, if not most people, they have a misconception about psychopathy, psychopaths. And the weird thing is Hollywood has taken it and they have, they do what they do best. They blow it completely out of proportion and just really, it's kind of like when they do a film about historical figures and they make them about a foot taller and leaner and more beautiful or more handsome, but nevertheless, it is bad. It's very bad, but it's not hopeless. So, hello, Mona. Glad you're here. We decided to do this podcast because we both noticed that there were people that were reaching out for answers, for help, that they felt trapped. They weren't happy, and from personal experience, and Nazreen has had personal experience, I think we all have, but we decided to do this podcast and give live advice, like I said, relationship advice or advice as far as what you're feeling. It's not limited to just your spouse or your boyfriend, girlfriend, or your mate. It is your relationship with a parent, a sibling, a coworker, your boss, an acquaintance, whatever. Let us know, and let us know what you're going through, what they're doing, and hopefully we can help you to help yourself and recognize the traits and kind of find out where you're at, and if you're in danger, then we can guide you or direct you in the right way. Now, I just want to give a disclaimer that we're not making any psychological or psychiatric diagnosis at all. I have no degrees in psychology, mental health, psychiatry, or anything like that. But I guess you could say I'm a lay psychologist because I have studied human behavior for the last 30 years. I have helped law enforcement in profiling, and I'm not going to say which case it was because that would get me in trouble, but it was a serial killer case, and this guy was killing women left and right. And I got involved, and I'm not bragging, I'm just telling you the truth. I got involved, and I gave them my profile, which was completely opposite of the FBI's profile. And this has been like 17, 18 years ago. And lo and behold, they used my information, and they caught the guy a month later, and he went to prison for the rest of his life. And so anyway, although I don't have any training or degrees, I feel like that gives me an advantage because I don't have to adhere to the diagnostic mental health book that psychologists and psychiatrists have to abide by. If you tell me that someone is exhibiting certain traits that doesn't fit in the DSM, I believe it is, or something like that, it's their book, it's their Bible, it's the psychiatric psychological Bible here in the United States. And if your symptoms, if your traits do not fit one of those disorders or diagnosis, they will diagnose you to the closest that they have that's listed in that book. If it's not listed in that book, then it's not covered, and to them it doesn't exist. So, Nazreen, if you want to introduce yourself and kind of tell people why you chose to do the podcast, how about it?
Okay. Right. I'm a medical doctor, but right now I'm thinking of making a career change into psychology. But what's more important is my personal experience. I've been in a marital relationship with a person, which I think, I'm not diagnosing him or anything, but it's been a toxic relationship. So, yeah, this is my personal experience. And it lasted for over 10 years.
So you, by your experience and the obstacles that you faced of being on your own with your daughter, that proves to women all over that are listening that are in a similar situation that they can do it just like you did. I mean,
yeah. Only if you can gather enough information and gather enough courage, you can do it. You can just, but staying in fear it doesn't help. If you stay in fear and if you have your reasons, if you list your reasons why you cannot leave the relationship, then it's never going to happen.
Right. That's this is very cliche sounding, but if you dwell on the negative and you dwell on why you cannot do it, then you're not going to do it.
Right.
But once you face your fear, and that's what it boils down to, is your fear of not only your fear of the abusive spouse or the abusive person in your life, the fear of being alone, quote unquote alone, being out on your own, not knowing if thinking, what if I lost my job, or even if you don't have a job, it's this is such an important, dangerous disorder, and when I say that, I'm talking about narcissistic personality disorder and psychopathy, as well as Machiavellianism. The latter two are not actual diagnoses. They don't. The only diagnosis that is given is NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. Psychopathy is more akin to malignant narcissism, which is the worst of the worst, and it's very synonymous with psychopathy. And we will go over each one of these and trait by trait, and just let listeners delve down and see if that's what you're experiencing, or if the person that you're with, if that's what they're experiencing and the traits that they're showing. And if they are, many people have been, there are certain websites that they say that if you suspect that you're with a malignant narcissist, they said, they say, get help immediately, get away, leave now, don't wait, because the malignant narcissist, once again, is very similar to the psychopath, and it's very dangerous, and it's when I'm not trying to scare anyone or anything, but when you hear on the news, when you hear about these killings, these murders that just happened, murder-suicides or whatever, that just happened, I always think, objection, Your Honor. It didn't just happen. There were signs, there were red flags that were ignored that led up to it, and it's very sad, but someone stayed in the relationship longer than they should have, and it cost them their life. And sad thing is there are people who aren't murdered, but they die inside. It's like it's been said that the malignant narcissist, the psychopath, they don't just make you unhappy. They don't just steal your happiness. They steal your soul if you stay with them long enough. They don't want just a part of you. They don't want to destroy just a part of you. They want to destroy all of you. Everything. And we'll talk about why, if there is a reason why, during this episode. So let me begin by let's see, giving the traits of narcissism, which is we all know about narcissists. I mean, it's sad but true. And lo and behold, well, hold on. Okay. Okay, here we go. The narcissist, and this is just the generic, general narcissism. It's not necessarily the narcissistic personality disorder, but it's the narcissistic traits. And one thing about the dark triad is that two or all three can overlap each other, and that's often the case. More so with two than all three. But the narcissist shows signs of superiority, dominance, a sense of entitlement. They just deserve everything. They may not have worked for it, they may not deserve it, but to them, they're entitled to it anyway. And they resent people, they hold grudges against people, and they will seek revenge against people who do work hard and do succeed. It's like a coworker that gets a promotion because they work for it. The narcissist will be very jealous of that person and make up lies, well, they got the promotion because they're the boss's nephew or this or that, whatever. But it is always, they are never happy for someone else's success or when someone else is in the limelight or someone else is getting attention. They have to be the center of attention at all times. They are very arrogant. They exploit. Okay. Let's see. Nazreen, I think you've got something there in the background. I'm not sure, but it sounds like music of some kind. But the
Is that better?
yes, but the narcissist is very arrogant. They are extroverts. They're not introverts. They admire themselves, of course. They're vain. They are self-sufficient, and they're always in pursuit of attention and sensations. But get this, their weakness is sensitivity to criticism. Cannot stand it. And if you want to really, really get under the skin of a narcissist, just criticize them about anything, even if it's constructive criticism. And you will see how weak they are. They appear to be very confident, very strong, and that's why that there are so many people, and let's face it, there are more male narcissists than female narcissists, but they do exist. But when a woman meets the narcissist, he's confident, he's self-assured, he's kind of like a bad boy, but he's a real bad boy. He's an evil man. Not a bad boy, he's an evil man. And it may shock many to learn that narcissistic personality disorder is the only personality disorder that cannot be treated with medication, any treatment. There's no therapy. There's nothing that can cure the narcissist. There have been studies, there have been research that show that they're born this way, the proverbial bad seed. And I hate to say that, but it's the truth. It's not so much what they do, it's who they are. And the chilling part is they're so confident, or appear to be confident. They take care of themselves, of course. I mean, they're very vain. So the confidence, and they're very intelligent. Everything that you believe you're looking for, and they lure you in until the mask comes off. And when the mask comes off, you see the monster. And the monster is fueled and is fed by fear. The narcissist's worst fear is having their mask come off and them being seen for what they are, which is weak. And they'll do anything and everything to keep that mask on. One thing, or four things that all three of these have, and just because someone may have these traits does not mean that they're suffering from the dark triad. But just bear with me. Disagreeableness, callousness, dishonesty, and manipulation. And I just want to say something about each one of these, and then Nazarene, you can give your thoughts on. Is disagreeableness when you disagree with everyone all the time? That's a problem. I mean, especially when you're in a relationship. If you find something wrong to disagree on a topic about all the time, that's proof positive that you are exerting your dominance, your superiority. Even though you may be wrong, or even though they may be wrong, the narcissist will do that. They will tell you something that is completely false. They'll lie to you. They'll tell you that black is white, so much so that you believe it. Gaslighting, making you think you're crazy. Callousness. Okay, that's, yes, the narcissist is all about me. Not so much so for anybody else. Maybe one person in their life, but that's it, and that's a maybe. The callousness or the lack of emotion is more akin to psychopathy. It's like they're neutral. They remain as calm as a cucumber no matter what. They don't react in fear or shock. They're not surprised. They don't jump, they don't run, and it's not because they're brave. It's because that part of their brain is different from normal human beings. I mean, so, and then the biggest for me, dishonesty. When someone lies to you, especially in a relationship, you have to ask yourself, why did they lie? There's always a reason, and it's usually not a good one. And that's a huge red flag. And then manipulation. And that's what all three of that make up the dark triad, all three of these negative, this personality disorder and these traits, that's what they have in common, is manipulation. And how they manipulate is emotional manipulation. They will attempt to manipulate and control you by your anger, by fear, or, anger and fear are basically the same thing, but they will make you believe that without them, you are nothing, and you're going to be all alone, and life is going to end for you. And that's not true. So, Nazreen, if you want to give your thoughts on that, please do. And then we'll move to Machiavellianism.
Okay, I want to add a few points, like they can't take no for an answer. Like, they don't respect boundaries, and they get angry when you have boundaries, and they try their best to, ignore your boundaries. When you said dishonesty, like lying and stuff, then they hide stuff. So hiding stuff from you, like hiding information or twisting information, is also a form of dishonesty. They project, and they project a lot. And when you, they can be the ones cheating, and then they go and accuse you of cheating on them. The last point is they don't want to see you happy. Like they get angry when you're happy, and even if it's like they try to spoil like events like birthdays and anniversaries, and so they don't want to see you happy.
Very much so, and that is a huge trait of narcissism. Is they're the only ones who they believe are entitled to be happy, and they do not want you to receive any attention, and if you succeed at something, of course you're going to get attention, and it infuriates them because they're not getting it, and they're very much like children, like small children, that they get mad, they pout, but they pout in a different way, and it's not a good way. It's a very destructive way, a very vindictive way, and they will, one way or another, they will get their revenge, and that's something that the narcissist, especially the narcissist, that's something that they dwell on, something that they feed on, is revenge. It is somebody's going to get payday for what they did. They do not They do not forgive, and they do not forget. Where the narcissist, the general narcissist, they're bad enough. I mean, they'll make your life a living hell. But the malignant narcissist, they're the ones that, they're the 1% of the 1%. Same as psychopathy, psychopaths. The only difference is the malignant narcissist will tend to explode, tend to be very violent, where the psychopath, they never lose their cool. They will, they're contrary to Hollywood. They're not the ones that are going to physically punch you in the face, beat you down, put you in the hospital. That's more of the sociopath, sociopathy, and the malignant narcissist will lose it, and when they do, it's explosive and very dangerous. The psychopath is even more dangerous because they can be smiling and their heartbeat never raise when they do what they do, which for a psychopath it would be more like emotional, psychological hell, pure hell, like you've never experienced, where they would basically destroy everything around you and everyone around you just to see your reaction to everything around you being destroyed, your family, your career. It's very, very bad. Or they're the ones that would do something like poison you and be smiling the whole time, and you would never suspect that this is going on. Where the malignant narcissist is very vocal, like the sociopath, they're very vocal. They let you know, hey, I'm mad, I'm infuriated, I'm pissed, and I'm losing it. At least you know. The sociopath, they hold everything in, but they take action. It's just a subtle action. It's a covert action. And where the narcissist, a lot of people think that a narcissist just feels for themselves. That's not true. They do have a bit of empathy, a bit of conscience, but the psychopath has no empathy, no conscience, and it's not that they don't love, it's they cannot love. Their brain has actually developed different than the normal human brain, to where if we see someone hurting, if we see an animal hurting, a dog that's been hurt, we're going to run to that we're going to run to that child, we're going to run to that person that's in pain. The psychopath, they're the ones that will keep walking. And does it upset them? No. Does it make them feel bad that they walked away? No. They have no feeling. But what they've learned to do to fit in, and they're very good at that, they're chameleons, is they have watched and they've studied how normal humans react, And so they do what's called mimicking. They'll mimic emotions. They'll mimic that they care. But in all truthfulness, they don't. They're not able to care. And that's pretty frightening. And also, if you look at the top careers that people have that are psychopaths, I think like the third or fourth career choice or is a surgeon or a doctor, a psychopath. And that's number one is CEO of a company. There's that. They have no emotion, so they can make the decisions that's best for the business to succeed at any cost, because they are not able to care about anyone, about the employees or anyone. It's all about the business, about them making money. And then you have people like Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, and all these. And I'm not saying they're psychopaths, but they do. There have been many people that have said that they don't think like most people. So I think that says a lot. But the Machiavellianism is refers to a personality trait which sees a person so focused on their own interest that they will manipulate, deceive, and exploit others at any cost to achieve their goals. It is, again, it's part of the dark triad, which is very, very similar to narcissism, malignant narcissism, and psychopathy. So when you have these different where these disorders, negative traits overlap, you have secondary traits, and it's pretty nightmarish. The narcissism with Machiavellianism, they have the capability and capacity to greatly influence and convince you or other people of anything. I guess you could say they're the greatest actors of all time. The only thing is they're not acting. That's them. And then when you take narcissism with psychopathy, you have selfishness, and I'm talking the most extreme selfishness, self-promotion, and very high self-esteem. That's the psychopathy part, not the narcissistic part. And then when you have psychopathy and Machiavellianism, you have the lying and deceiving. You have the deception, where they wear the mask. And the narcissist wears it well, but the psychopath wears it a lot better. The narcissist will eventually, their mask comes off. Those suffering from psychopathy, sometimes they live their entire life and their mask never comes off. No one ever knows that they're psychopaths. So when you put these three together and one is bad enough. But when they start overlapping, it's very confusing, and it's like people ask me, okay, well, my boyfriend loves me, but he pushes me away, and he has an explosive temper, and he has punched me before, and he tells me all the time that he hates me, and that he's going to kill me, and it's no lie. And I was, oh, okay. Why are you still there? Are you waiting for a rematch? I mean, hey, you're going to lose. You're going to lose every time, because what you're doing and what the mistake that's made, and I think everyone listening can attest to this, is you don't see that person for what they are. You see that person for what you are. You project your value system of love and respect and kindness and onto them, no matter what. I mean, it's just like the mother whose child is like, Damien in the Omen, it's like the son of Satan running around, and everybody's saying, oh my God, that kid is like the devil. And she's like, oh, he's perfect. He's angelic, and he's like killing cats and running up the walls and setting things on fire. And she's like, oh, I don't see anything wrong. Why? Because she chooses not to see the bad. Why? Because it's easier to not see it than to see it and have to deal with it. Especially when it's not a child, when it's an adult child, when it's an adult that does these things, and you see it and you say, okay, oh, if I say something, or if I confront them about this, or even say, you need help, I'm going to pay. So they're not that bad. I mean, they're going to get better. They're going to change. They'll change. They'll get worse. That's what will happen. They'll get worse. And again, cannot be cured, cannot be helped, cannot be treated. So it's one thing that we talked about on our Facebook Live in the group that I have that is the Spiritual Advancement Society, and we talk about things like this. And for the last 2 weeks, Nazarene and I have been doing the Facebook Live, and we talked about that. I talked about how that it is that the best thing that you can do to avoid being duped or being conned by the narcissist or the psychopath is to, well, not so much the psychopath, but the narcissist is to be confident, to be strong, to have boundaries and say, oh, okay, if you do this again, that's it. And if they do it again, which they will, bye-bye. No second chance. You can't afford it. Because you give them a second chance, that opens the door for another chance and another chance and another chance, and they'll take every one of them. Machiavellianism, they thrive on their reputation. Good, excellent reputation. Strategic calculation. They calculate everything. Everything is a strategy, and they're very, very good at it. They use any and every tactic in their arsenal to obtain whatever they want. And the end justifies the means. No matter what the casualties, the pain, the sorrow, the grief, it doesn't matter as long as they attain what they want. Orientation towards the future, low ethical and moral standards, absence of principles, infidelity, and flexibility. Okay. That infidelity and low ethical and moral standards, there's been women, there's been men too, that have found out that they have HIV. Why? Because their spouse was just out sleeping with everybody. That's one of the traits of Machiavellianism, is they want to have that good reputation where everyone likes them, where everyone looks up to them, where everyone sees them as sexy or attractive or what. And so many times, man or woman, they sleep around and they don't think twice about it. And then if you're the spouse, they come home and whatever they have, they give it to you, and it's very, very horrible. Very sad. I know that I couldn't do something like that, but if I did, I couldn't live with myself. They are like, okay, I gave you HIV. What's for dinner? Literally. Because they're unable for that to register what they've done. Change your life forever. Okay, you say, okay, I'm sorry, you two need to get going. Okay, can you explain what you're talking about? Is this a joke or something? Let's see. Mona sent that message? Mona sent this message. She says, I need to get going, not you. I thought it was like someone listening that sent that message, and I was about to perform an attitude adjustment live. It's like, she says, okay, I'm sorry, but you two need to get going. And I'm like, whoa, who would have the audacity to come on this podcast and say, we need to get going. I'm sorry, but you two need to get going. And she says, I need to get going, not you. So it's a typo, but I have to say, I'm kind of charged with adrenaline right now. It's like splattering all over the walls. Oh, I was so ready to eat this person alive. It's like, how rude can you be? But it's my wife that did that told us, okay, I'm sorry, but you two need to get going. But it was a typo. I hope. We're talking about the dark triad, and this is like when I read that, I'm like, okay, I wasn't aware of the dark octagon, Good grief. You blew my mind. But anyway, I apologize, but I was kind of having like a mild heart attack. I was, who would say that, Anyway, but as far as psychopathy, these are the traits, and then we'll just discuss whatever you want to discuss as far as the traits, problems that you're facing, red flags that you see in someone in your life or maybe yourself. Psychopathy, charm and superficial enchantment. They're impulsive. They have an absence of guilt and no remorse. They have no emotions. They're very intelligent. They take risks. They have no empathy. They're irresponsible, very aggressive, lack of conscience. Their orientation is always in the now, the present. They are antisociable, and that is psychopathy. Although it's not an actual diagnosis, it is very, very true, describing in what it describes, and it's the most extreme form of antisocial personality disorder. And truthfully, I kind of think that this, all of these personality disorders, I think they've kind of gone overboard on this, because it's like if you bite your fingernails, that's a personality disorder. It's crazy that there's 560 different disorders or diagnosis that in their huge psychological Bible that they go by. It's crazy. I mean, which crazy is a good word, because old school, it's like, no, Johnny doesn't have personality disorder. Johnny's just crazy, and we love him for it. But no, now it's like, someone that's different or not like everyone else, they have a disorder. Back when I was a kid, when I was in school, high school, whatever, that made life very interesting. And I'm not talking about people that were, depressed, people that were very, suffering from severe anxiety and things like that. I'm just talking about people that were different. Now it's automatically some kind of disorder, but sadly. But anyway, okay. So what we have talked about here, what we've described, these traits, if there's someone in your family, someone that you in your life, I should say, that show these signs, and I've had two people since yesterday, when we talked about this, contact me, and say, oh man, this is describing the person I'm with. Please, contact us or contact someone and get help, because it's certainly not healthy. And if you're going to be abused, because that's their mindset. I mean, they're abusers. And if you have children, or your mom or your dad lives with you, whoever's around you, they're going to abuse them too. Again, no conscience, no remorse. Conscience is the watchdog of heaven. It keeps us in check. With no conscience, hey, anything's possible. So, it's very troubling, because it's been said that narcissism is, Nazarene, I think they said 8 to 10% of the population, something like that. I think it's more like 25% or 20%, 25%. Or else I'm just around a bunch of narcissists all the time. But the 1% of the 1% are the psychopaths, the psychopathy. And many people say, I've never met a psychopath. And I'm like, well, you probably have, but you just didn't know it. What you may not know is a psychopath doesn't walk up and shake your hand and say, hey, I'm a psychopath, No, they're the grandfather. They're your neighbor next door that, the nice old man, the nice old woman, and please don't take that literally. I mean, but it's the pillar of the community. Like, think about John Wayne Gacy, okay, the serial killer that killed 33 young men, buried them under his house. This guy was the sensation of the nation. I mean, for God's sake, he was did work for the Democratic Party, as far as when Jimmy Carter was running for president. He was photographed with Rosalind Carter, and was a pillar of the community. And he was a psychopath, absolute psychopath. Ted Bundy, another psychopath, also malignant narcissist. I mean, he was a very, very intelligent guy, handsome guy, and was very charismatic. Women were, even when women knew what he had been charged with, these horrific murders, and the things that he did was just, can't even talk about it. I mean, so horrific. There were women that were just swooning over him and just, going crazy over him, wanting to marry him, because even in court, when he was facing these charges, he defended himself and did a pretty good job. But in the end, there was something that was brought in that proof, evidence that could not be denied, incontrovertible proof that he committed these murders, and he went from the smiling, handsome, debonair guy to a total monster. If you go on YouTube, I think that you can see this. It's something called the switch or whatever, when the monster comes out, and that's like I said, that's usually in the malignant narcissist. Although with Ted Bundy, he had all of the not all, but the dark triad, all three overlapped, and when he was convicted, when he knew that it was over for him, that's when the malignant narcissist, that's when the mask came off, and he literally went from this smiling, handsome guy to this monster with his face elongated, looking like it's stretching out, and just lets out this blood-curdling scream like nobody's business. I mean, it's like a primal. It just, it just froze everyone in the courtroom, and then he suddenly went back to being calm, and it's like, what just happened? Well, the monster surfaced, and it's very sad, but that's what his victims, that's what they saw. They got in the car with him. They saw this nice guy, this guy that made them feel so loved. He showed them attention. He made them very, very comfortable. And when they let their guard down, when they were at their most comfortable, when they were relaxed, that's when the switch came and the monster surfaced. And when I say monster, I'm just talking about his true essence, his core self, core personality came out, and it was beyond brutal, beyond horrific, and but he did say in prison, they talked to him and said, okay, you are going to be put to death, a certain date. And he'd say, well, if you can give me 6 more months or a year, I'll tell you where other women are buried that I've killed. And they're like, are you serious? Well, he wasn't kidding. I mean, and I think that they did give him some extra time, but nothing, he was obviously lying just to get more time, and they finally put him to death. And which is, it's sad that such an intelligent man could choose, or not really choose, but was born that way and was put to death. But unfortunately, at least now, no one else has to suffer, no one else has to die, because there was no changing him. It's not even what he did so much as what he was, and he was wired that way. And that's something that is very common in many serial killers, is they will continue to kill, continue their same behavior, and some even have written on walls and everything, please stop me, I cannot help myself, And those that continue doing it, which most do, a part of me thinks, I think that they want to get caught, or they allow themselves to get caught because a part of them wants to stop, or they get tired of doing it or something. But that drive is there. It sounds very strange, but yeah, that drive is there to kill and to destroy. I believe the only two serial killers in history that were never that were never caught, that were never really identified. To this day, no one knows who they were. Was the Zodiac killer, and the worst of all, Jack the Ripper. There's been a lot of speculation about who Jack the Ripper was, but no one knows for sure. I mean, but one thing is the guy was a total psychopath, just malignant narcissist, everything. And this case that I helped law enforcement on, their profile was, this is a middle-aged white male that is an introvert. He's overweight. He has low self-esteem. He stays at home. And I'm like, no, from his victims and from what I've read that he did to his victims, and I said, this man is not white. This man is black. This man is African American. Okay, and he is not an introvert. He is an extrovert. He is a ladies' man. He is a charmer. And I said, the reason why that there's no signs of forced entry is because these women let him in their house. And they asked, and these are like detectives, and they're asking me, how did he gain their trust? And I said, well, something like this. Hey, see my car or my truck or my van down there with the hood up? Man, and this is exactly what a psychopath would do. Say, yeah, see my car there? It overheated, I ran out of gas, or blah, 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 something. And my cell phone's dead. Of course, at this time, it was like 2003, so, there's no cell phones really, except for the brick phones, and nobody had one of those. But I said, he just starts talking to them in such a way that, like, he knows them. I mean, it's something that psychopaths, sociopaths do to gain your trust. They start talking to you like they've known you your entire life, and they're not hesitant. And what they do is they are experts at reading people. They can look at what kind of watch you're wearing. They can look at your wedding ring. They can look at the clothes you're wearing, your shoes, your haircut, and it's incredible. It's incredible how they can just boom, boom, boom. And it's been said that within 2 minutes, under 2 minutes, they have sized you up. They have completely analyzed you to where they can talk to you. And what happens is your subconscious mind, bypasses your conscious mind, and you let your guard down because, hey, you know this person, although you really don't. And I said, he's a ladies' man. He's a flatterer. He knows how to talk to women. I said, every one of these women, except for two, I said, they're middle-aged women. They live by themselves, which they all live by themselves. But anyway, I said, he's laying it on thick, and they like it. You know, who wouldn't? And he's got a big smile. He's strong, but hey, he's a teddy bear, right? And so he says, if I could just come in and use your phone, I'll dance at your next wedding or something like that, you know. Very, very lighthearted, very funny, cracking jokes and everything. And they're like, okay, sure, come in. So when they turn around to go to lead him to their phone or to get their phone, something like this happens. They hear the door shut and lock. And when they turn around, it's no longer the teddy bear. It's no longer the nice, gentle, funny guy. It's the monster. And with something in his hand like a claw hammer or a club or, you know, something, and he would literally beat these women to death and take them out of their house into his vehicle, which van, and leave. And very, very quick, so quick that he could do it and nobody saw it, and saw him do it. So that tells me he was very organized, and that he had targeted these women. He had studied these women, everything about them. So he knew their routines, and he knew when neighbors were at home, when neighbors were gone, and that's when he would strike. And when no one was at home, no one was around, and boom, there you go. And so I told them that. They changed their profile, and a month later, they caught him. And I was right about everything except his weight. I said I put him at about 165, 165, because of the overkill. Just horrible violence. I mean, overkill. And I thought, well, that's because he's not a really, really large man, and I was wrong about that. I had the height right. He was like 5'10", 5'11", but he didn't weigh 160. He weighed 230, solid muscle. And and everyone that knew him, they were so shocked, because they said, oh man, he was the nicest. He wouldn't hurt a fly. He may not hurt a fly, but he would hurt another human being. And so, yeah. It's, but they asked me, they said, well, did he show no signs? Do you think that he, showed absolutely no signs of this behavior, of this, this murderous urge that he couldn't resist? And, well, sure he did. I mean, it may have been subtle, but it may have been subtle, But most of it was not subtle. Most of it was right in your face. But what happened? People overlooked it. They ignored it. They ignored the signs. Well, that's just so-and-so. That's just the way he is. He just explodes sometimes. Or he just, does, acts a certain way. He really doesn't mean it. Let me tell you something. When people are you can tell a joke, and you can have a dark sense of humor. But some people, when they talk about certain things that are very, very sensitive, to say the least, even joking, which I have a dark sense of humor. I mean, let's face it, that which is most sensitive, that which is most, that scares us, if we can laugh at it, it's not that scary. But when you have someone that has a dark sense of humor, only they're not joking, they're very serious, that's a big problem. There's Robert Hare, one of the profilers for serial killers, said that there have been many serial killers that have told people, basically like confessed to them, yes, which I'm not even going to say because I don't want to scar anyone because it's really bad. But think of the most repulsive, the most horrible thing you can think of, and they would say this with no emotion at all, and walk away or just change the subject, no problem. And they would do it to where the other person would start laughing because they thought they were joking, and they weren't. They were being very honest, very open, which is very unusual, but it happened according to Robert Hare. So it's very, very detrimental to your mental health if there's someone in your life that shows these traits. Your mother, your father, your current spouse, your ex, whatever, your boss, but their goal is to destroy you by making you feel like there's no hope, like you're never going to escape, you're never going to be happy, and nothing is further from the truth. Don't believe the lie. Nazarene, did you fall asleep?
No, I'm still there.
I'm kidding. That's one thing that my entire life that I have never been able to stand is to see someone abusing another person or an animal that cannot defend themselves or are afraid to defend themselves. I can't take it, and I have intervened a few times, and I'm just not gonna. I cannot watch someone being abused or someone being mistreated, and that's why that I chose to do this podcast with Nazarene, is because if you're hurting and you're being abused by someone that is out to destroy you, all the while telling you they love you, I want to open your eyes and to the truth so you can get away and you can begin living life instead of life living you. And what I mean by that is you living someone else's life. You may believe that you're in a relationship when you're really serving a prison sentence. Because if you're not free to be you, and you're living in fear of what this person's going to do, that's not living. That's being a prisoner. And Nazreen, do you want to add to that?
Yeah. I want to mention something about the things that narcissists teach us. It says here, like, love doesn't always conquer all. Yeah, if you love them and they love you, or they pretend that they love you, that's not a reason to stay in an abusive relationship. Number two is heartless people exist. So if you're an empath or someone who is kind, just know that just because you're kind doesn't mean that everyone's kind. Never try to raise an adult. Everyone knows what they're doing, and if you express that you're upset to someone and explain why you're upset, and they don't see any change in their behavior, then it's not a good sign. They don't respect you, and they don't want to change. They don't want for you to feel like, even they won't acknowledge your feelings to begin with. Like you said, they cannot be cured, so even God can't change them.
Mm-hmm.
And the last thing is that you're strong. Like, narcissists always target strong people because they themselves are weak.
Mm-hmm.
So
the narcissist, it has been through research and different people who have been diagnosed, men who have been diagnosed as being malignant narcissists. It is very common for them to target a middle-aged woman, a single mother who works a menial job or two jobs, and has low self-confidence, and is overweight, slightly overweight. And that's something that, nothing against people that are overweight or whatever. I have no problem with that. But they see that and they're like, okay, I can, this woman's probably lonely. She's, showing signs, and they are predators. I mean, they really are. They know, they can't read your mind, but they size you up very, very quickly. Okay, well, she's kind of overweight, so I can joke with her about it, and I'm joking, so it's not really going to set off any red flags, but subconsciously it puts him above her, and that's how they work. I mean, they are masters at like programming your subconscious to like Nazreen said, they would take strong people and tear them down. And I have a very good friend that is a board, certified psychologist, and he said that sad thing is that the malignant narcissist is actually a better psychologist than most psychologists. That they somehow they are born to where they just can read a person's feelings, and it has been said that the opposite of a narcissist is an empath, a person with a high level, empathy off the charts. The narcissist, with the empath, they suffer with the person. With the narcissist, they watch the person suffer. That's a big difference. The empath is willing to suffer and feel what the other person's feeling and go through that with them. The narcissist, they get their strength from watching the person suffer. It fuels them, it feeds them, which is insane, literally. It really is. And we're at an hour and a half, so I believe we'll stop here. But we will be on each Sunday at 8 p.m. Central, same time, same place. So please write that down. Make plans to join us again next Sunday. And I'm having problems with my Spreaker display. It's not. Something's changed about it. There was an upgrade, so the music and everything. It's very, very complicated. The display is irregular, to say the least. So anyway, that will be taken care of by next Sunday. Nazarene, do you have anything that you'd like to add, or?
I just want the listeners to remember, if they would like to join the group Spiritual Advancement Society.
Yes.
On Facebook.
Those of you that would like to, you can go to Facebook to the Spiritual Advancement Society. It's a group with. It's not about religion. It is not about it's not about if you're a Democrat, Republican. No, there's no talk about religion. There's no talk about politics. Christians, Muslims, it doesn't matter. Whoever, whatever. If you want to join, and with it's a very small group, but very, very precious people, and it's certainly been a blessing since I started the group almost 4 years ago now, and it's not where we are continually talking about spiritual things. Most of us have a sense of humor that's out of this world. If you can't laugh, then you probably just want to pass us by. But anyway, I talk about what we're talking about now. I talk about things such as religion, and how some of the religious leaders the religious system, how they are con men and con women, how they, I guess you could say, beguile the masses, and they're making millions off of gullible people and off of people who have put their faith and trust in the wrong place. And there you go. That's the narcissist. That's the psychopath with no conscience, taking money from people that don't have it. And I'm very much against that, and I speak out against it on my regular podcast, The Texarsis Live, among many other things. And it's I talk about topics from A to Z, but I don't skip over those that are very volatile. I've received death threats because I've spoken out against certain injustices that everyone else accepts and sees no wrong in. And but if you want to check it out, The Texarsis Live, please do. And don't forget about this podcast. If you would, if you've enjoyed or this information has helped you, please hit the like button and follow us on Spreaker. And again, the Facebook group is the Spiritual Advancement Society. And I also have the Texarsis Live podcast group on Facebook. So please check it out. And if you like what you see, join. I'd be glad to have you. Anyway, just want to say that once again, you can reach us via email, and it's in the introduction. Nazreen's contact, my contact email, both. So please, if you need to talk, if you need help, please either contact Nazreen or myself. Anyway, love and light to you all. Love you all. Good night. We'll see you next Sunday at 8 p.m. Central.
Good night.